Hello, everyone. It's Curdy Lindgren again. So here we are. We are still in our afternoon sessions for the 12-hour day of collective healing. And I'm not quite yet, but I'm getting ready to hand everything over to Nicole. And Nicole and I know each other from a while back. We've been kind of calculated 3 years, but I think that we feel like we've known each other definitely. So, but we are used to having in-person spiritual retreats. And so when we received this download to facilitate this virtual spiritual retreat, we ran with it and it came together incredibly quickly. So I thank people enough for saying, I'll do it. Yes, let's do it. And also being such a technology goddess with her own website, which is where we are hosting the course registration platform at www.theessentialnicole.com. And then Jacqueline, who I also met through Nicole, who is the co-owner of Spiritual Touch Healing Boutique with our friend Jennifer, that we also do in-person spiritual retreats with. And they are in Spokane Valley, Washington. And we want to thank Jacqueline for hosting the Facebook event page and also for hosting herself and 2 of the healers today in the Healing Boutique to make technology available to them. So I just cannot say enough. Again, my name is Curdy Lindgren, and I have been the technology goddess for the Zoom sessions today. And I was just telling Nicole, I've got to go get more water after the last session, so I'm gonna down and do that. But these sessions are being recorded for future replay. So we've turned off the microphones for everyone attending. And we would like you to go ahead and use the chat button at the bottom of your screen to ask Nicole questions. And without further ado, I give over the controls to my dear friend, Nicole.
Thank you, Curdy. I want to just edify you and thank you so much for doing all the back-end technology stuff today and making everything run so smoothly and seamlessly. And then edify Jacqueline and Jennifer and the Healing Boutique, because that yoga session we had at lunch and then the 8 a.m. singing bowl sound session with Lynn all happened in that gorgeous space. So thank you so much. I am so excited. I love that, like, it just divinely came together that more like the high energy people are at the afternoon session. But we are also going to help soothe all the healing that happened today. So I'm Nicole Ronningen. I love everything to do with connecting to our source, trusting our own intuition and our inner guidance, and connecting with other like-minded souls, people who, like you, who are on your spiritual healing journey and want to come together and share healing for the world. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to use a little bit of essential oils. I'm going to pull from some tools just from my very eclectic toolbox, and it's going to I've been instructed that it's going to be intuitive to what is needed on this call with those of you joining live, and also what is needed for those who are watching the replay, and then we're going to send it out into the collective. So those are the parameters, and I'm super excited because we're going to do a little bit of movement, and we're also going to just talk about ways and tools that we can use to stay in alignment, to course correct when we kind of veer out of alignment, and to know how to kind of troubleshoot or know how to direct healing to get back into alignment. So my primary healing modalities are connected to speaking and hearing, and then seeing and knowing, and then, physical creation, spiritual creation, all of those things kind of come through as more like peripheral languages, if you will. So it's fun to connect with all of you and give you tools that help you no matter what your dominant gifts are. Okay, so whenever we start a session, I really love to hold space and just ask that we all connect to our own source. For me, it's God, Holy Spirit. But for me, that means divine unconditional love and that creative source that we all spring from, and that holds us together, that like fills, the space between every particle of us. And so I'm really excited that I can offer this space being held and that connection to source. And I also love that everyone has their own interpretation of what source is. And so I encourage you and invite you to connect to your source. And if I use a word that doesn't resonate with you or a name that doesn't resonate with you, please replace it with what resonates with you and aligns with your values and your truth. Because if there's any resistance, then you're dealing with the resistance and not able to receive the healing as well. You've got interference happening. So I want to be sensitive to that. So today I'll just use source, higher power, and maybe sometimes God. All right, so I envision angels and like holy fire Reiki, because I really love that, the pure energy of that. But for you, whatever your higher power is, I envision it in the four corners of my space, my physical space, but also my property, my home, because I'm in my home right now. You might hear my 4 children running around in the background. They're all part of this as well. And then I like to envision it kind of coming up to a pinnacle at the top, maybe like 12 miles up, and then down 12 miles into the earth at a point, and just that I'm encased in this beautiful space that's held for me. So I always like to call in ancestors, helpers, guides, angels, whatever supports you that's of the highest truth, love, and compassion. So I invite you to do that at this time. And then I rely really heavily on essential oils and plant medicine, on trees. So like I have my friends that are on my property and that I will direct some of the healing to. So I like to thank them for holding space for us and transmuting a lot of this energy. I have my favorite stone friends that help us. And so if you have stones or oils or things that are in your practice, I invite you to bring those in. If saging or smudging is in your practice, I invite you to do that if it feels in alignment with you. Anything that helps you feel protected, held, and supported divinely. So now's the time for that. I also really love tea tree or melaleuca essential oil. Mine comes in a touch roller that's diluted with coconut oil, so it stays on my skin longer and goes a little farther. And then I also have it in just the undiluted form as well. And I like to roll it up my spine or put it on my chakra points. I'll also put it on my wrists just to signify that anything that I'm taking on has a boundary, that I only take what is of divine unconditional love, or that can be transmuted to divine unconditional love. So that's the space that I hold on my physical body as I transmute the energy on this call. And I will be holding space on this call, as well as those guides that we call in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. If saging is more in your practice, it's essentially the same. All right, so without further ado, just have permission to connect to you and your energy field and what is for the highest good for you on this call live, and the highest good of the people who will be watching the replay. Thank you for joining us. And then we're going to send it out into the collective. And I imagine that we're basically putting it up into a queue, and that anytime, at any point, past, present, or future, that one of us, one of our ancestors, or one of our posterity, or anyone that connects to or resonates with the frequency of whatever we're experiencing. I felt a little resistance there. It's okay if this is not in your practice, that's totally fine. But I just imagine putting that up into the queue so that at any time someone could kind of shoot one of those little arrow prayers and just say, help me, and that it's available for them of their own free will. I am a very firm believer in agency and choice and not violating someone's agency. And so that's even with good intentions. So that's why I just put it up into the queue. So that's what we're going to be doing today. All right, so with your permission, we'll get started. All right. I'm going to just pull some oils. And this will all be recorded, so don't feel like you have to take notes. Normally I write all this down, but I'm going to go back and rewatch it and write my notes later just for continuity and ease. So the first oil I'm pulling is laurel leaf. It's not a normal one that doTERRA, that's the company that I use, sells, but it is a very great support oil, and it was like a one-time thing. So I'll be using it on our behalf. And the cool thing about energy is I can send the energy of this plant medicine to you all, even if you don't have it. So if you don't use essential oils, you can still participate in this healing, and be sending that energy to you. And it's just like what Amber talked about with stones. They have their own chemical makeup, their anatomical structure or atomic structure, and they hold a frequency, and then we attune to it. It's very similar with plants. They're a little bit more volatile and aromatic, so they access our olfactory and our limbic brain. They're really deeply connected with memories and emotional memories, and so they can access those stored memories in our subconscious that are stored in our body. And then it's really fun because it can call things forth that you need to recall to release. They can hold a frequency that you're trying to resonate to. Like if maybe your vibration's here and you want to attune to the properties, emotional or physical or spiritual properties of the oil, you can use it over time and your body will adjust. Your mind and your spirit will adjust. So that's really fun. Reason why we use oils and stones, and we use them for different things. Some of them are clearing and pulling, some of them are nourishing and harmonizing, so they all have different properties. So for our laurel leaf, we are releasing any energy associated with self-doubt. And so in alignment and in attunement, usually when I pull an oil and I start talking about it, the download comes through. So that's what's happening now. In alignment with our source, which is divine unconditional love, and that higher self inner knowing that we have, the first, like one of the easiest ways to knock us out of that is doubting ourselves or comparing ourselves to someone else. And so a lot of times what we're looking for is love and connection, but a lot of times we end up doing that by comparison. And so like we're shifting that out of self-doubt and we're shifting it to feeling capable. Like we can hear our source for ourselves. So I'm going to put this right on the heart space, and I invite you to do that if that's in your practice and that's available to you. Or if you're just receiving this energetically, just feel into your heart space or acknowledge or imagine or envision, which if you're like a feeler experiencer, you might feel tingles or some sort of shift, like you physically feel it. If you're more of a like a clairvoyant or claircognizant gifted person, you might just envision it and imagine it or just believe that it's happening. There's different ways that your gifts will come through. So whatever it is, trust it and go with it. All right, so laurel leaf, we're gonna shift away any self-doubt to feeling capable. We can hear our source and we can understand or find someone who can help us understand and interpret for us the messages that we receive. And the biggest revelation that even got me into any of this was feeling things in my body and realizing that those were messages, and that source or God could speak to me through in my body. And then not having a context for that in my spiritual practice and my experience, then I had to go find it. Do we have a chat, Curdy? Is that what you're going to tell me?
Well, I was going to ask you, for those who don't know the snapping, like some of us do, would you just explain that real quick?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks.
Sometimes I feel like, it's the sound of the snap that just like sound can clear energy too. And it's the friction and it's the intention of just pulling that energy out. So it's just a way that when you're facilitating a group, it's one tool that you can use to clear that energy. Thanks for asking that, Curdy. That's a good question. Okay, so our next oil. If at any time you feel uncomfortable or you need extra assistance, please raise your hand or put it in the chat, and Curdy will let me know if I don't see it. Okay, our next one is myrrh. And that is a really beautiful oil to connect us to Mother Earth and the divine feminine. It's a very nourishing, earthy oil. We're going to put that in the sacral space. So kind of if you're a female, it's over where like your ovaries would be, if you have ovaries, or where they would be, if you did. So for me, it's like underneath the belly button area, above the pubic mound. And I usually just draw like a smile that follows the curve, underneath my belly. And I love to connect those two, because anything that we can do that connects our right and our left hemisphere also creates alignment and integration. So that's another tool. I do that across the forehead. I do it in the body, in the movements I'm going to show you as well. So we're going to put that there, or receive the energy of it. And we're shifting from feeling unsafe in the world to feeling trusting. And so my sense is that, like, yes, we individually need this, but collectively now more than ever, we are the lights that people look to and want to kind of know how to make sense. And so when we can really feel rooted and grounded, that the earth has been here for however long she's been here, and she's been supporting and holding life for us and holding space for us. And she has amazing regenerative powers and properties, and, has healed many times, has gone through many changes. And we learn the cycles, we learn the seasons, we learn so much wisdom from just observing Mother Earth. And then anytime, like Kathy Watts talked about in her session, where there's worry or uncertainty, we can look at the patterns and the cycles of Mother Earth, and we can just connect to that and the wisdom of that and hold that and then offer that help. So we're going to put that into the queue and shift that to feeling trusting, just trusting the process, that even though we might not have a clear, 10-point plan of what's going to happen every day for the next year or whatever, or the next 4 years, we're going to trust that kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall, life has ebbs and flows, and that's all really natural, and it's all really safe, even though it feels very unsafe. The reality is that the cycles happen. So I'm going to connect to that and offer that out as well. And a lot of times when we do this healing, we can offer, we'll do it at the end, but I just want to mention, in case I get off track, that we can offer it backwards through all of our family lines, however many we have. And then we can offer it forwards to any posterity. And if we don't have physical children, we do have creations. We have businesses, art, all endeavors that come through us creatively. So we can offer it to that. And then we can offer it out to the collective. So that, especially for the myrrh, I want to really emphasize that that's what we're doing. Oh, yay. Okay, so fennel is the next one we're going to use. And fennel gets me really excited when I'm doing a session with people and fennel comes up, which is cracking me up because it's not in here. It must be in one of my bags, but we'll just go with it. It's also in Digestin, so if you have the digestive blend, it's in there as well. So that's what I'll be using. But fennel helps us connect to our body and the messages in our body. And for whatever reason throughout history, the females have been taught that it's not safe to know and trust and have that relationship within their body and with the earth and with the divine feminine. Males have been taught that too, right? It's just that I see mostly females on this call, but the replay, there will probably be males or non-binary people. So it's not a gendered thing, it's just polarities. And we all have masculine and feminine energy. So we've been taught that there's no ability to connect with our body and hear God's messages there. But when we really tune in, we all have an inner knowing. It's just that it, wasn't always convenient for everyone who was trying to get us ready in the morning or, get us on a certain path or agenda, that they, they wanted you to listen to them and not necessarily to your body. So alignment looks like tuning into your body and taking care of your physical needs and listening and honoring. So whatever that looks like for you, we're going to shift from neglecting that to being in tune with that. And so I'm going to have us put this on the solar plexus. And solar plexus is just kind of the diaphragm area. It's right below the nipple line. And not everyone has nipples, but like where they would be if they did. So just that upper stomach, kind of over the small intestine area. Okay. And it also fennel helps us break down things and digest them. And like so much heat is coming off of this call. So I'm just gonna do a little snapping. It's kind of funny. It's like I was cold all day and now I feel like all the heat. So that's good. We're moving a lot today. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so marjoram is our next oil. Marjoram is such a great, who do I trust? Who is in my circle? Who do I resonate with? Kind of oil. So if you have any of those questions, marjoram is your friend. And then you can pair it with rosemary if you want to in a blend. It's like an 8-to-5 ratio, 8 marjoram, 5 rosemary, and that you can put into a roller bottle and use it over your heart space. If you're trying to discern relationships or the correct next step, what to allow and what to say this is not an energetic match for me. So that's just an aside little nugget. But we're going to be working with marjoram and shifting from distrust to loving. So last 2 weekends ago, I was at an energy retreat with Amber and Kathy, and it was really beautiful because I was able to go into that space and just turn up my love light, just turn it up. And that was really all the protection that I felt like I needed. And if you know me, that is a huge deal. I've been working through, safety and trust healing around that for a long time. So I can totally attest to the fact that this really does work. And when we, obviously we work through everything we work through in layers and stages, but marjoram's been integral in helping me know and discern what is for me and what is not for me. So I love it. I don't feel like I have to armor up all the time like Brene Brown talks about in order to feel safe in the world. I feel very confident that my source will let me know, usually by some sort of sensation in the body, and that this is either for me or not for me. And that's going to be important, you know, moving forward. So we're sending that into the collective as well. Oh, yay. Okay, thyme. Thyme is a hot oil. So if you do put this on your skin, I would encourage you to have some sort of carrier oil. Now, I already feel that it wants to be in my, sorry about that. I need to see my chest, but I need to get to my coconut oil. So some sort of carrier oil that you can dilute it with. And dilute doesn't mean that it powers down the effectiveness of the oil. It just makes the molecules be like a lesser parts per million or parts per thousand or however much. It just disperses it over the skin, and it helps it bind to the skin so that because it's aromatic, it doesn't evaporate, it goes in to the skin, which is what we want. So I say use caution because the throat area is very sensitive. So if you do not want to do this, I will do it for you. But like you can just kind of take like a teensy tiny little part of a drop and put it with some carrier oil and then just apply it here on the throat. And you might see my throat get red and I might have to reapply, and that's just how it works. So you're learning all kinds of secondary things like safety. And then I'm gonna put any residual over my liver area, because liver is where we store anger and resentment. So anytime I do any forgiveness work, I do liver, and then I put it over my ovaries, because we hold a lot of unforgiveness there as well. We start in the liver, and then we work out any generational unforgiveness out of our reproductive area. So if you have reproductive parts that are not female, put it over that area as well, not on, over. Okay. So we are shifting to being understanding instead of resentful. And I feel this is going to be very important because no matter the outcome of today, lots of people are going to be disappointed and have many feelings around it. And so we are in a space where in order to hold space for that, we have to, or we are invited to, I mean, we don't have to do anything, but it's going to be within our agency to choose to hold space with understanding rather than that resentment. So we're not all going to get our way, unfortunately, which is a bummer. Okay. How are we doing? I don't see anything in the chat. Okay. So next we're going to use the digestion or the digestive blend, and it's for going from overstimulated to assimilating. So all of the input collectively, especially for those of us that transmute energy, so that this is going to be our friend. And I love this for the crown chakra, like right on top of my head. And I don't know if you can see in this light, but my hair is so oily already from all the oils I've been applying. My whole body is oily, but my hair even is super oily because I've been utilizing my tools and clearing lots of energy. And this just helps you break it down. You can also, like, say you're experiencing a lot of grief, you could apply this over the lung area. You could do it on the bottoms of the feet. So if this were your foot and these were your toes, you could put it here. And that's the lung reflex point if you really like to access the feet, like we do in flowology. So, and reflexology. So this is a great just processor. It helps break down and assimilate, like, so because we need to integrate to stay in alignment, we need to integrate. So I'm going to be putting this over my chest. So there's going to be some collective grieving. And that's going to just be something that a lot of us may not sleep as well. And so if you can diffuse this, it comes this way too. You can diffuse this blend, you can put it on your crown, you can put it over your lungs or anywhere your body speaks up and says, put it here. Sometimes I'll go to put an oil on and I will just feel like a part of my foot or a part of my body kind of just light up for a second. Like I just feel a sensation. I just know to put it there. So that could be one way. Or you might hear the word foot or solar plexus or something like that. So there's all different ways. You're like, I don't get my messages that way, but you get them another way. Trust your way. That's your language from source. Okay, so do we need anything else? Okay. The next one we're going to use is Litsea. And not everyone may have it, but it is the free oil this month, so you could get it. Again, we don't normally sell it unless you live in Australia or New Zealand. So kind of cool that it's available this month if you want to add it to your collection. Litsea is going to shift from feeling blocked to aligned. This is one of my favorite oils for clearing massive amounts of energy and also for manifesting. When I want to bring an idea down into the physical world, I want to clear any blocks and just make it a smooth transition. Litsea is my go-to. And it's also in the DDR Prime blend. So I will use that either along my spine and like the base of my skull, like brainstem, or along the reflex points on the inside of the feet. So if you start at that inside ankle bone and work your way up to the big toe, along the arch, that's the spine reflex point, and I will work it in. And I intend that it affects my DNA and every cell. So that's a great ancestral clearing as well. Any questions? Grace, she's taking her clothes off. It's getting really warm over here too. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna bring some stones in here real quick. So I'm getting my selenite and my smoky. And that, I think that'll help. Okay. So we're putting this on our crown. It's kind of fun. Like if I didn't want to put oils in my hair, I'll show you a picture of another place you can put it along the feet. And it's this number 7 here. This is the inside. I was telling you the spinal reflex points. It's the side, the inside side of the big toes is the crown, third eye, all the way. They correspond with the chakras, the 7. So that's another application point if your hair just can't take anymore like mine. Okay, we're gonna go to peppermint. This one's acting kind of weird, but okay. From heavy-hearted to relieved. So we're gonna put this right over the heart. And that's basically, the heart chakra is in between the nipple line. So just parallel with where nipples would be. It's like right in the middle, kind of down the center of the body. And again, I just want to acknowledge not everyone has nipples, for whatever reason. And so it would just be down the center of the body in that midsection. And then Roman chamomile helps us go from feeling unsettled to peaceful. So I know it seems like we're just maybe putting oils on, but we are moving a lot of energy. So please be drinking your water. If you need to get up and go use the restroom, I won't know and I will not be offended. And take me with you if you need to, because you're all muted. We're going to put this on our third eye. I love Roman chamomile because it does help us connect with the angels. And so sometimes when I just want to see what to do and see clearly, I will put it there. There are so many other things you can do too. You can put it on your heart or really anywhere, but those are some of my favorite application points. Oh, helichrysum. Okay. So helichrysum either comes in this roller size or in a small size like this. And we're going to just roll it right over the heart. And for here, sorry, it's inappropriate timing to laugh. I just read the taking our clothes off comment again. I was like, yeah. Okay, so we're going from hopeless to hopeful. And right now, one of the greatest gifts that we can offer to people is hope. And I encourage you to watch Kathy's class if you haven't already. Her session was beautiful. And her definition of hope, which we've really fleshed it out. I'll answer your question in just a second. It's a good question, Kathy. Is taking the inspirations that you receive or the circumstances that you're confronted with, and instead of like going into worry or just thinking it but never doing anything about it, hope is basically putting that faith in action. And I like it because it's not like this esoteric concept that, I hope that we can, all survive, or I hope that this happens or that happens. That's really just code for worry. So Kathy's asking me, how do I know which oil to use? So sometimes I will hear the word or the oil. Sometimes I'll smell or taste it. That doesn't happen quite as much. Sometimes I'll look at my case of oils, which are standing, all around me, and one, like a label will pop out at me and it'll just look brighter and just get my attention. But when I'm doing a call just for accuracy and ease, and so it doesn't take so long, I have this oils and emotion book, and in the back there's all the oils listed with the negative properties that they address and the positive properties that they shift to. And to me, a negative emotion or property is just really like a constricted, like, hey, I diagnosed the issue, but we just want to expand that energy and shift it to a higher vibration, or just expand it. So like starting with worry and expanding it to hope would be a great example of that. Yeah, great question, Kathy. Thanks for asking. So I just muscle test, like the pages are all numbered. So I get the page number and then I just go down the list, and it's just quick. And anyone who utilizes something like emotion code, you get the list and then you can just go, is it in this column or this column? That's where I learned to do that. It just saves time. Thanks for asking that. I love that. Okay. There's going to be some of us on this call, some of us on the replay, and definitely people in the collective that are feeling apathetic. And so we're offering the healing and shifting it to being grateful. So, and I don't mean that to like spiritually browbeat anybody, or like, but there's a great principle that anytime you can shift into a state of gratitude, even if it comes through like remembering past times that you've been taken care of, that things didn't look like they were going to work out, or you didn't know how something was going to work out, and then it did, just going back to that feeling and recreating that feeling as evidence that in this present time, whatever it is that I don't know what is gonna work out, and I can't see how it will work out, knowing that I was taken care of back then, I'll be protected and cared for right now. So that's one way to have gratitude, even in really bleak circumstances. It's not like I'm grateful for my abuse or I'm grateful for this tragedy. I don't mean that at all. I just mean there have been times in my life, in my ancestors' life, throughout history, where things seemed really dark and dire. And like I personally was cared for, or my ancestors, or, you know, the world didn't end, kind of like what we talked about with Mother Earth at the beginning. And so we're going to shift, because what people do, apathy is just another word for the trauma response of learned helplessness. And so there's like, it looks kind of like sloth, like I can't do anything about this, or I have to do something, like I have no agency. It kind of looks like that, and it kind of looks like numbing and feeling lost. So those are some clues. If you notice you're out of alignment and you notice like any of those symptoms, like you're saying things like I can't or I have to, or you feel lost, you feel like you have no faith in any positive outcomes or in your higher power. And it's not even in a religious way. It's just knowing like your needs will be taken care of. What you're really looking for is kindness, and you're really looking for the reason to step into your choices and your agency, and that's going to lead you to your stewardship, like what you can actually do to affect change, and that shifts you into getting that spiritual need met, and then like of protection or safety or whatever, and or provision. For me, a lot of times it's provision that I have the most evidence of this working in, and then it gives me like this huge stockpile of evidence for when the next thing comes up. So this is like totally how I teach manifesting and all kinds of things, is gathering evidence. And the oil we pulled for this is beautiful. It's lime, and it's our zest for life. And lime is going to help us shift from that apathy to that gratitude. But I wanted to give that explanation because I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm like, just be grateful that, you know, your candidate didn't win, or like, well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we've survived, like, and even though we don't know the outcome, we do know that things work themselves out, and that all is not lost, like that kind of gratitude. So I put that on my heart space and on my solar plexus and kind of around my belly button, just to really infuse that, like my power center and my heart space, with that gratitude and that zest for life. Like, and it's kind of just, but when you're in that state of learned helplessness, shifting into state of agency. It's like nobody's coming to save me. No one's coming to pick me up out of that crib that I just had to cry myself to sleep. You know, that like whatever stage you were in when you had that kind of shut down, you know, the freeze part of trauma, it shifts you back into alignment, and it really helps you be able to see the part that's yours, the change that you can affect. So you will usually receive an inspiration, and when you connect to that, and you're empowered by your source, and your motivation is love, and you were taking back your agency, it's so amazing. It's the best thing ever. So, okay. Oh, Manuka. Okay. That's another one we don't normally have. So I'm sending this to all of you. It's a very protective oil. It comes from New Zealand. And it is like, if you don't have Manuka, you can use your tea tree. They have similar properties. They're not identical, but you could go ahead and use that. the thing I've learned about Manuka is like the bees love Manuka, right? They make the honey that has those amazing therapeutic qualities. And so when I use Manuka, I literally envision like being the nectar and being the flowers on the tree, and then that the bees come. So it's kind of like you're putting out that vibe that you want, and then the bees come and then they like pollinate, like they go out and they pollinate, and they just like, it's kind of like the Gandhi oil where they're like they're being the change that they wish to see in the world. So I think of this as like, what kind of work can we do in the collective, past, present, and future, for all beings, you know, all living things, which I think everything, you know, rocks, plants, all of it, the dirt, all of it. What can we send to them? So I love Manuka, and I love that visual. And we're shifting from feeling unsafe to feeling shielded. So that, I feel like that is just this beautiful like icing on the cake for the collective. So I'm going to have us put it on our wrist creases. I'm feeling drawn to teach you about the Sanjiao. So in Chinese medicine, it's the meridian that goes between the ring finger and the pinky, and you follow it all the way up your arm and around as best you can, and then down again, and then out that meridian on the other side. So I start on my left, my receiving side, and then I put it out. So I'm receiving from source this shielded, protected energy, and then I'm bringing it all the way through that meridian and out to the world. And I think that is going to close out our session. Also, if you have access to your feet and you just want to ground this in, you can put it on the bottoms of your feet, kind of in the middle or wherever calls to you. All right. Anybody have any questions, comments? Does anyone feel stuck or weird, like uncomfortable anywhere that they would like some help with? Give you a second to put it in the chat. And then, okay, so if you need to interrupt me, go ahead. But if not, I'm going to assume that was complete. And so we're just going to call, because we all connected. So I'm going to just kind of close the space. We're going to call our energy back to ourselves. We're going to thank the earth for holding us, the land that we're on, the floor, like our piece of property that our home is on, if we have a home, our floor that we're standing on, the walls that surround us, the sacred space that we set around us, the air, all the elements, the trees, the plants, the stones, our guides, our angels, our ancestors, our supports, any helpers that you called in, we're giving them gratitude. And I'm sending gratitude to all of you. And of course, we're sending gratitude to the creator, the source. So we're just facilitating the space and the healing. We're sending it back into our generations, to anyone who'd love to receive it at any time, and forward to our posterity, whether that's physical offspring or creative offspring, either way, and then out into the collective for any time this healing is available. So that includes everyone on the replay. I want to thank you for being with us today as well, whatever today is for you, or tonight, or whatever time you end up tuning in. And then I want to thank everyone who is live on this call. And again, thank Jacqueline and Curdy for helping me put this together through Source. And just wish you all the best. Thank you so much. Know that you are so divinely held, and that no matter what happens, if you have even one simple tool, and it doesn't have to be something that you purchase, it can be literally just that prayer of source, I connect to you. And I just visually imagine connecting up into, the creator and down into the center of the earth and just feeling anchored and tethered, like nothing can knock me over now. And I have a direct access to all the collective wisdom from all time and space, all realities, and then down into that earth that's been holding us since the beginning. So that is the alignment. And then I connected in my heart space with that divine unconditional love. And I just feel it, going into every cell of my body, shifting anything that is unlike love back into love. Then when you add things like oils and stones and, you do your favorite healing modalities and you have all access to all 12 of these healing modalities, whether it's sound or, Reiki or whatever. You have so many tools. You have all of us available, and all of our contact information will be in our modules. Whether you bought the individual module, it'll be in there, or in the full day, you'll have access. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole. And I did want to let you know that Amber has something going on in her shoulder blade. And is there something for that she can put on?
Yeah, Amber, do you have your tea tree with you, hon?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and put it on. I'm going to put it on both since I'm feeling left for you, but maybe it could be reversed. And then I'm going to go ahead and put Manuka over the top of it on your behalf.
Oh, that moved a ton of energy. Like, hot yawn.
Well, and our shoulders, that's when we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And so we are in Reiki. I love when you do all this energy work and you clear, you literally sweep yourself off.
Yeah.
And in Theta Healing, you zip yourself up, you clear yourself. So Kruti, can you demonstrate that? Because you're the great zipper. I'm not as great.
Oh, yeah. So I imagine going down into the earth, rolling around, gathering all that earth energy, coming back up into my heart. And then this, pull apart, and then zip up. And I just go straight, kind of from root over my crown.
Yeah, and Amber, one time we did that in another class we have together, and she realized I'm going to duck down. You have to go up, zip up and zip down, because you've got your Earth Star and your soul chakra, you want to zip. That's why I said that point, up 12 miles. So I'm held, so imagine zipping from the pinnacle of that space to the floor of that space. And I will too, imagine just being when you pull that earth energy up, you go up and around, and that it clears out your auric field and all of that. So we don't want to carry the weight of the world. And when I'm doing Reiki or a session with somebody, I will send the energy to a tree that I make eye contact with, and it's yeah, I'll do it. And it goes down into the earth too. So you can do that with a stone. Trees, because their root system already goes down into the earth, they're usually pretty happy to work with you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I really want the attendees and whoever's watching the replay as an attendee to appreciate the order in which these sessions have divinely occurred. Source, God, creator of all that is, whatever your higher power name is, put everybody in the order that we're intending to be in. So you're receiving Nicole's session, and I'm speaking about that, in Nicole's session at the divine time. And now we're going to move on to the next session. But there are several of us who have attended these back to back to back to back, and to not be actually lying on the floor and
because we zip up
face down, because we have every healer has gone through the process of opening up space and closing up space. So we really appreciate everybody doing that. This was amazing. You are incredibly talented when it comes to this. And I mean, I've learned so much from you for the oils, and we could go on again for hours with every healer who has been on today. So we're not going to. I want to thank everyone for joining us, joining Nicole here, and for our 12-hour day of collective healing. I want to thank you, Nicole, soul sister, for, helping Jacqueline and me put this together. I mean, anyway, so incredible. And for everyone who is attending right now, remember the replay will be available. We are shooting for 48 hours after today ends. We do have a bit to do, so we've given ourselves some leeway, and that we'll be able to go back and watch this and use the protocol again, because I don't get everything on the first try. And again, when we talked about in the last session, peeling away the layers, we have to do it a few times. And okay, so luckily Nicole has done the first round for you, and we've got to go. We've got to move on to the next session. I could keep going. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
To everyone, and so much gratitude. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Michelle says thank you too.